And we're live. Hello, everybody. We were waiting for Eddie to hit the live button. So we have a very exciting show today. We have a special guest. Of course, we have the coolest Tanya in the whole entire world, cooler than the other side of the pillow. Tanya Cool is here again, once again this week. Next week, she will be hosting this live stream because I will be out of town and I'm be visiting a tiny home community. Today, we're going to be talking about why is it that home prices are still rising to this day, and we're going to be picking apart an article that came out from MSNBC, I believe it was, about the rising home prices, and we're going to get Tanya's opinion, and we're going to get our special guest's opinion. But before we get started, I do want to say a very special thank you, and I didn't do it last week at the end of the show, which was to all the moderators. Man, we had an amount of trolls in the chat last week that were kind of trying to take over the stream. And if anybody knows, I do not mind to have a conversation about political policies, but I do not like to have discourse or political rants that have nothing to do with real estate in my live streams or in my topics. Now, I understand that real estate can be political. There's no doubt about it. That's why I say we can always talk about policies, but I don't give two flying flips what side of the aisle you sit on. It doesn't matter to me. So leave that nonsense somewhere else unless you have a valid point to make. Then that makes total sense. But if you're just here to kind of troll my comments and stuff like that, just to get your voice heard, go make your own channel. So that was that. So that is that. So anyways, we have our special guest here is all the way from Maryland, the place for the blue crabs, but I don't know if you know this, Louisiana's blue crabs are better. His name is Malcolm Lawson, and he is going to be heading. Ram, look at here. Hello, Malcolm. Welcome. All right, Malcolm, what do you think? Blue crabs in Louisiana are better than the blue crabs in Maryland?
So this is gonna be a little blasphemy, but I actually don't like crabs. I know. Being from Maryland, but it just raised up picking these freaking crabs just to get a tiny little bit of meat, and I'm sick of it. I don't care. I'm done. You can have the title, the best blue crabs in Louisiana. Go for it. I eat king crabs from Alaska. That's about all I eat.
Those are good too. And I have been known to eat a bushel of crabs by myself. No lie. I have literally, I sat down at the table and everybody in my family had some, and I stayed there until I think it was like mid-afternoon all the way until late evening, just picking on, just eating and eating. And they're like, have you stopped yet? I'm like, no, I can't stop. They're delicious.
You're an honorary Marylander then.
But they're Louisiana boiled. So anyways, that has nothing to do with real estate, but there is some things that have to do with real estate. And before we get into the article, I want to show you some things. First of all, last week I made a post, and Eddie, I'm going to pull this up. I know that you're the guy behind this screen. Here he is. He already did it for me. And the post said, will rising home interest rates push you to buy a home this year? And 13% said yes, 33% said no. And then the last one was not unless the home prices tank. And that was 54%. Malcolm, what do you think about how people are thinking right now if they're worried about home prices tanking and interest rates rising? What is the wrong thing? What is the what should people think about that? I'll put it that way.
People have this delusion that the housing market's going to crash someday, right? How long have people been saying that? Ever since 2008, right? In 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, every year they're saying the housing market's going to crash. And I hate to break it to you, but the Federal Reserve has figured out how to prevent the housing market from ever crashing ever again. All they do is lower the interest rates, and that keeps the housing market from crashing, So I don't think that we're going to see a housing market crash. I just don't really see that. And if you guys are waiting for one, you're going to be waiting a long time, and you're missing out on a lot of appreciation. If you go back 12 months ago, people are saying there's going to be a housing market crash. If you would have just bought a house 12 months ago or 24 months ago, you would have seen a huge amount of appreciation in this time. So that's kind of my big thing. Like, you can't be, it's a bit of a gamble, waiting and hoping that the housing market crashes.
Well, and if they'll say, well, if interest rates go up, then housing prices will come down. But the point is that if interest rates are going up and the housing price is going down, that means that you're paying more in interest. In a lot of cases, more than you would have if you would have bought it at a lower interest rate at a higher price for the home. And so you didn't win. You didn't win the battle on that one. You didn't time the market right. So it's just something to think about when if you're hoping that the prices are going to tank. I've said it many times. I don't think the prices are going to tank. I originally thought that it would when we first saw the pandemic start and all those people hit forbearance. And I've said it a gazillion times. Yes, I was one of those people that said this is going to tank when you saw 7.1 million people on forbearance. But all those people, there's less than 1 million now. I think it's under 700,000 now that are on forbearance. So those people aren't going to be putting their houses on the market. Even if they did, they'd still have appreciating value. A lot of them have restructured their loans. But I will say I even saw a couple this week that hit the market of foreclosed properties we have foreclosed brokers here in our area. And those foreclosed properties have been hitting the market around here, but some of them have been like foreclosed on since 2016. They just finally decided to put them on the market. I know. One of them was a flooded and gutted house that's been sitting there vacant since 2016. But if you're in the market for looking for foreclosed properties and get a deal, I've been saying this for a couple of weeks because I want people to start really looking at this, is HUDhomestore.com, and you can get a HUD certified home and you don't have to fight with investors once those houses get on the market, because they work with individuals, buyers, single family residents, owner occupants. Thank you. I always lose that word. So yeah, check there. And then I have a website that you can also look on, is foreclosure.com. There's a link in the description so you can get a discount on their website. Oh, look, there's Eddie. He's so nice.
Thanks, Eddie.
Look at that. Eddie's pulled it right up there. So look, you can just put your state right there in the street, and it will let you know which ones are in your specific area that are foreclosed property that are certified by HUD. And it'll let you know how many days before investors actually get a chance to even make a bid on it. It'll say like 10 days, 7 days, 6 days, whatever. So good to know.
And you stressed patience last time with that process.
Yeah. It is going to be a longer process. You're correct. A longer process. Have you ever done a HUD home store?
I have not, but I personally, my last home was a short sale, and that took 10 months to close on that house. 10 months to close on that short sale. So yeah, it's definitely a very long and drawn out process. I imagine the HUD homes are probably a similar process.
There's nothing short about a short sale. Eddie pulled up that foreclosure.com. This is another website that has the affiliate link. You can use it for 30 days for free though, and it will show you all the ones that are not on the MLS or Zillow or any of the other websites. It gives you a whole, this is kind of like the back end foreclosure.com, the ones that you don't see on the open market. So you can sign up for that website, and look, there it is, Altamont Springs. This is here in Florida. It shows you all the foreclosed properties, pre-foreclosed properties. I'll warn you about the pre-foreclosed properties. Sometimes people just didn't pay their bills, or they're in the middle of a divorce and everything. So I wouldn't put too much focus on pre-foreclosed. Look for the ones that are foreclosed. So just FYI a little.
Yeah, those show up on Zillow as well, the pre-foreclosures. And I have people sending me these listings. Like, I want to see this house right now. It's like, bro, it's not even for sale. Like they missed the mortgage payment. That's all pre-foreclosure is, that they're late on their payment. They may go into foreclosure next year. It's very misleading. I think Zillow does that just so that they can advertise, hey, we have more listings than anybody else.
Right. But I will say though, if you see one that's been on pre-foreclosure for quite some time, that could mean that it is in the foreclosure process. So you could beat them to the punch, right? So before the bank takes over, you as a consumer can write that seller a letter and say, hey, I've seen your home on Zillow now for 2 months in this pre-foreclosure process. Instead of trying to go through the foreclosure process, what is it that you owe on your house? And I will pay that amount. If you are cash heavy and you're willing to do that, like, look, I would like to purchase your home. If whatever it is that you owe, I'll give you an extra $20,000 over that amount. So that way you can walk away scot-free and not have to go into foreclosure. A lot of people did that during the last housing, I wouldn't say crash, but it was a crash where
Yeah.
a lot of they were going through that pre-foreclosure process, and people were writing letters, hey, before you go into foreclosure, we can save your property, and they were purchasing before they went through that process. So it is something to think about. Write them a letter. The worst that can happen is they don't answer you, but the best that can
I love
happen is
that.
you get a house before it gets on the market. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. Good idea.
Thank you. I'm kind of smart like that.
She is.
I have some stuff in there every once in a while tucked away in the cobwebs. It'll pop out. I'm like, oh my God, sometimes I'm really brilliant. So anyways, let's get to our article here. He's going to pull it up on the screen. Look at our new little thing right here. After registering, oops. What is it? What does the article say, Eddie? After registering a month to month, oh, he's pulling this up.
Eddie.
Eddie, is the spring home buying season coming early this year? Okay. Well, I don't think it's ever stopped. After registering a month-to-month gains over 1% starting in September 2020 at reaching an all-time high of 2% in July 2021, the increasing U.S. Housing prices appeared to slow down in the fall, but a rapid value appreciation reignited just ahead of the spring in home buying season, jumping from 1.2% in November to 1.4% in December, according to the Zillow report. Experts are blaming the return of big gains on historically low levels of stock and rush to potential home buyers to beat the rising mortgage rates. Absolutely. The start of the day, I don't know what that was. That was an advertisement. Sorry. Buyers in December had 19.5 fewer homes to choose from. That's a lot from the year earlier when inventory was already at a record low. In comparison to December 2019, they found 40.5% fewer homes available for sale. 40.5% fewer homes for sale. Wow. Okay, here we go. Looking to buy in 2022, it is
a hint to us that perhaps the spring home buying season is coming early, says Alexander Lee, an economist at Zillow. We would usually expect the winter months to be relatively slow, but with this reacceleration and understanding just how hot the market has remained over the last year, the housing market is starting to heat up earlier than usual.
I don't think it ever stopped. I think people took a pause because it was freaking Christmas.
Right.
Earlier in the article, when it says 1% a month, that's per month. It's supposed to be historically housing prices have increased or housing values have appreciated 3% annually,
right?
Not 12% annually.
Right. In some areas, it's like 14%.
Yeah.
You just touched my leg.
We're very close. We're very cozy here.
Yeah, we're getting really cozy. So what do you think there, Malcolm?
Yeah, pretty wild. Here in Maryland, like the market, people kind of took a breath for a little while. The market I didn't want to say slowed down. It just wasn't as crazy for a few months there. Right now, it's back to being crazy. Homes are selling within a week again. Homes are getting 5-6 offers on them again. And I'm working with buyers, and it's so frustrating. It's kind of heartbreaking. They're telling me, like, look, there's just nothing. We can't find what we're looking for. And I got to tell them, like, yeah, you just have to kind of just ride it out. It may take you 3 months, 6 months to actually find a home and get one under contract. It's really frustrating. And I think that it's multi-factors that are playing into this. One, obviously, like we got the Omicron. We got this new thing emerging, and a lot of people are kind of freaking out about it still. I was working with a buyer today. She had gloves on, she had 2 masks on. It was really concerning for her. And I think that there's a lot of sellers that still just don't feel comfortable having 30, 40, 50 strangers walking through their home right now.
Yep. 100%.
So I think that can be a big factor of the inventory issue that we're having. And then, of course, it's wintertime. It always goes down in the wintertime.
They don't even know what you're talking about here in the South.
Oh, yeah. What am I saying?
Okay. It isn't even a thing. It wasn't even a thing. But I will say this, though. I had an investor sent me a house that looked like a house, but it was actually a house that they took a manufactured home and then they made it look like a house. They let's see, doesn't that look like a house? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell on this, but they put a porch around it, wrapped it around this manufactured home. It looks like an actual house, but but it was flooded. It's been gutted. It's stripped down to nothing. All it really is like the house is really there at no value. And it's just a piece of property that floods constantly. And they have it listed for $85,000. I'm like, wow, this would not have gone for this amount of money 2 years ago. Not even close. Not even remotely close. So the market's crazy. And the only deals to have here are ones that are in areas that flood so often that you're going to have to tear down the house and put that house on piers in order for you not to be in underwater.
I learned what a pier was the other day.
Yeah, you did?
I didn't know. I was like, piers? What are piers? We don't have piers in Pittsburgh. Not a thing.
And how much is flood insurance down there with you guys?
It depends on what flood zone you are in. So I'm considering flood zone X. Well, people will say, "Oh, you're in flood zone X. You're not in a flood zone." Well, it's still a flood zone, but the likelihood of us flooding in this specific area is very, very low. Then you have A, E, and A. Like there's all sorts of different ones. There's A, E, A, B. Once you're in those, it depends on where your house is considered from a base flood itself. And so you have to get a flood elevation certificate, and that will determine how much your flood insurance will be. And if you don't have flood insurance and your house ends up being in the flood zone, your mortgage company will send you a policy and let you know that you now have flood insurance. And then you're going to want to revise that because it's not necessarily the amount it should be. But like for us, since we are in flood zone X, it's like $600. $600 a year.
Yep. That's about what we have here in Maryland as well. You'll see a home on the market and it's literally half the price of all the other homes. And you're like, how is this house so cheap? Oh, $600 flood insurance a month that you have to pay on that house. And that's why.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah. So if you're worried about a home or you're worried that it might be in a flood zone or whatever, you can put the address in there and you can go to the FEMA flood maps and it will let you know if it's in the flood zone and what flood zone it's in itself. LSU also has their own flood maps as well. That is part of the Army Corps of Engineers that lets you know. We do that. We will put in addresses all the time, but it gives you a full on look, it gives you all the subdivisions and everything. It lets you know. And, some of the other flood map will let you know what years it actually flooded in that specific area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This flood is in 2017 all the way. I think it goes back to the early 60s, but apparently there was a pretty big flood here in the 80s as well. So if you're concerned about that, you can always jump on that. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to be heading to record high prices? Why do you think that? Other than supply, what other reasons why these home prices keep going up? What is your opinion, Malcolm?
Two other factors. So obviously the Omicron variant is lowering the inventory. That could be a factor. A big factor is inflation. I've been harping on this for a long, long time. The U.S. dollar is losing its value, and because of that, you need more of them to buy anything. I don't think I've had a grocery bill under $100 in 6-7 months now. And because of that, it's going to cost more money to buy homes and buy cars and buy gas, and everything is going to go up as the U.S. dollar goes down. And so you almost need to, if you see 20% appreciation in the housing market, you kind of need to deduct 7 to 10% of that just for the inflation to account for that.
Yes.
That's kind of the reality of it. And as right now we're seeing 7% inflation was the last numbers. So, that means that home prices have gone up 7% just from that. And every month for the past 6 months or so, that number has gone up higher and higher and higher, from 5% to 6.5 to now 7. If we see 7.5 or 8% in the next few months, everything, including homes, are just going to keep going up. Rentals are also way up right now as well.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. What do you think that our interest rate for mortgages are going to end up at the end of this year?
So it's really interesting. So I just refinanced my house. I got 2.25% on a VA refinance, which is insane.
Awesome.
Yeah, no points for anything. Yeah, I'm super happy with that. So Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, he was just reappointed by Biden. He came out just this week saying that they intend to raise interest rates throughout 2022. As soon as he said that, the stock market, dropped, hundreds of points, a pretty big decline in the stock market and in cryptocurrencies as well. And so some people say that he may just be kind of bluffing with that and that he may not actually lower interest rates. It's really hard to say. Some people are saying that they expect 9 different rate hikes throughout the year. So we really don't know, but I would most likely expecting them to raise the interest rate slightly kind of throughout the year. And when they do that, the stock market's going to crash slightly or come down slightly, which may make them not want to do that anymore. It's going to be kind of touch and go here, but most likely we're going to see the Federal Reserve increase interest rates in 2022. And so a lot of people they see this statement from Jerome Powell. They're trying to jump in and lock in a 2.2% interest rate while they still can, just in case they do start hiking these interest rates back up.
I had a mortgage guy on here and I said, well, I think by the end of this year, we might be sitting at like 4.5 interest rates for homes, which, people would be like, oh, yeah, but it's really, I mean, 4.5 is still like really low in the grand scheme of things, but he agreed with me. And then I had people the week before, they were like, absolutely not, they're not gonna do it at 4.5, but this mortgage guy did. He agreed with me that we would probably end the year at around 4.5. What do you think?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't think anybody does. The pundits on the TV have no idea. Nobody was going to expect the U.S. to print this much money. The Federal Reserve was not expecting inflation to hit 7%. So they don't even have any idea. Their target was 2% inflation. We were at like 1 and 1.5% at the beginning or last year. And they, did all these things. And now we way overshot their target. So they don't even know. And yeah, I honestly have no idea. Interest rates may go even lower. If I have no idea. I don't even want to make a prediction. It's just the Wild West out here, and it's just crazy right now. Anything
that's
below 4 is a fantastic interest rate. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
I told my kids, I'm like, you may look at a bunch of people and you think they have it all together, but all of us are faking it. All of us. Jennifer Lego said, hello, Kristina. I took my broker's advice and finally applied for my applied for a CC former Dave
credit card.
Former Dave Fuller. Oh, credit score went up 100 points. Rate will not stop me. Oh, she must be she's talking about Dave Ramsey. I crack on Dave Ramsey all the time because he really does say terrible things about buying and investing in manufactured homes, which ended up being the worst advice you could have taken, because a lot of people that I've spoken to, they were like, I made a bank on my manufactured home selling it this year. Like my property went up $150,000 since 2016. So I've made a lot of money on my manufactured home.
She's a baller. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that, like, if they had taken his advice and didn't listen to people in their area, local experts about the housing market in their area, they would have lost out, because he tells people, and he has it in black and white on his website, investing in a manufactured home is like buying a car you sleep in. That's what he said. No matter what you do, he said, I know. No matter what you do, he said, the value of those are sinking like a rock the minute you purchase it, and you will never gain it back. And he was wrong. I'm sorry, he was wrong. Just like any piece of real estate, when it comes to manufactured homes, it has to do with the location. It has to do with the schools. It has to do with, there's many factors, but you can't make a blanket statement that says all manufactured homes are going to make you lose money like a car you sleep in.
Yeah. So I don't like Dave Ramsey. Well, okay. So he's entertaining. I watch his show sometimes because he's entertaining. But I have a friend who loves Dave Ramsey. And, I tell him that I bought my home with a VA loan and I put 0% down. And this friend is telling me how stupid I am, how much of an idiot, and what a fool. I'm going to pay so much money in interest, and that they're saving up 20% because Dave Ramsey tells them to save up 20% to put as their down payment. Meanwhile, while they're trying to save up this 20%, houses have exploded by 30% appreciation. And their 20% that they saved up in their savings account is now losing 7% of its value. And they're nowhere near close to 20% of what they need now to purchase that exact same home. And I, on the other hand, gained 30% appreciation on a $400,000 asset.
And that's what I was just going to say.
Nail on the head.
Yeah, I say, that's what I was just going to say. You put nothing down and you gained money. Yeah.
Running from dollars to go collect pennies.
Somebody made a very I have to put this up, Eddie. I know this is it says, yeah, Dave was wrong, but the question is, will he ever admit it?
No. No, he never will.
I just spit. No, he'll never admit it. He'll never will admit it. Hey, Eddie, do we have any questions you want to throw up on the screen as we were rambling away? Like, I know there's lots of people that really do like him. He's going to show the inflation calculator really quick. Oh, this is a really good.
This is a good doozy.
Yeah. So in 2020 and then 2021, you can go with this. I'm choking.
In 20, so this measures inflation. So inflation data for 2022 will be available February 10th when the pricing is. So if in 2020 I purchased an item for $1, then in 2021 that same item will cost $1.08. So cumulative rate of inflation is 7.7%.
Mm-hmm.
Now we do this 2008. 20. Oh my gosh. If you spent $1 in 2008, in 2021, it went up 29.5%.
So
now let's do that.
House.
Yes, exactly. Let's put in what dollar amount would you like for the house?
$100,000.
$100,000 house, Eddie. If we bought it in 2000, there we go. That
I think you did put $1 million.
I think you put $1 million.
He did.
No, he did it perfectly.
Yeah, you did it perfectly.
Then in 2021, your $100,000 home is now worth
$161,905.92. Your cumulative inflation rate was 61.9%.
So while you were saving up for a down payment to make 20%, you got left behind.
You got left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you bought it for $100,000 and within that year, you lost out 7.7% interest.
Yeah. And it gets even worse because if you're saving that money in your savings account, you lost 7% of its value as well.
Yes.
So it's 100% more money. You're losing value. Real estate's a beautiful thing. You know, it really is.
Right. If you have excess cash, what do all the people that have excess cash do? They buy real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, investors.
Yeah, like your financial advisor, they'll say to you, they're like, hey, just to let you know, you're a little cash heavy. I think it's time for you to buy a condo. It's time for you to buy a condo.
People in Pittsburgh are scrambling to buy because rents are insane. One of the rents on my rental property is $1,700 a month, and the mortgage, tax, insurance are about $950. People are trying to because there's just the demand is there. Why wouldn't you want to have your payment?
I would not. I haven't raised my rates. I haven't raised my rent.
I haven't either. My tenant, she just retired. I like her. And you know what? Like my rental is worth about $300,000, or it was a couple of years ago. It's worth $300,000. It's probably worth, $350 now. So, I'm not greedy. I just made $50,000 in equity. I'm not going to jack up the rent on her,
I won't do it either. I won't do it either. I'm like, I have to sleep at night. If I was there, I wouldn't go. Like, I can't imagine knocking on their door and saying, we're going to go ahead and charge you another $250 a month. An additional, like, I know your lease is up, you could move out, and somebody else would, of course, I wouldn't do that. They pay on time. They're clean. They take care of the place. I don't get calls in the middle of the night. No, it's worth it not to have the headache. I didn't have my rent. I didn't have my rent. Richard has a question. He says, people in Section 8 housing are fed up with crime in those dwellings. Are there any programs for section housing to people to buy manufactured homes? I do not know of any Section 8 housing when it comes to manufactured homes. They're usually around here is an individual house, or it's it's like an apartment complex. This is just me talking. This isn't based by any concrete facts, but I believe that they do Section 8 housing in crime-ridden areas on purpose. Because it's just, I don't know. It's kind of like almost like a punishment. You're poor, so we're going to make you even feel worse about it. But that's just me. That's how I feel about it. I don't know why it's like that. But here in Louisiana, we have, there's many individual investors that will fix up a house and have Section 8 housing just because of the fact that they know that they get paid on time. So they never have to worry about it not being taken care of either, because the Section 8 people drive around and the property is not taken care of. They actually remove those tenants. Mm-hmm. And you're always paid. You're always paid. So do you have any Section 8 housing?
We do. And yeah, some renters like it because you get paid from the state or whoever. You get paid directly from the government. You have to, I think, enroll in the program, and they have to kind of come out and like inspect your property and everything before you can qualify for it. So there's a few extra loops you have to jump through. But yeah, a lot of people really like owning Section 8 rental properties just because they know it's like a guaranteed payment.
Look at this.
Wow, Eddie.
Eddie's so good. He says, MHI applauds the new law allowing for use of Section 8 vouchers to purchase manufactured homes. Purchase manufactured homes? Is this new? Oh, this was in 2016. Eddie, this is no longer available.
Oh,
it
was previous.
It was previously. It's no longer available. It's still no longer available. It was like, no longer available. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, sorry. CC Moon has something. She says, I saw her little super chat come up. She said, adulting is getting harder. Can I be a 5-year-old? Oh my gosh. I feel guilty sometimes because I like see what's going on in the world and stuff. And I think about my kids and I'm like, oh, thank God you're almost out and you can, think for yourself and you can get out in school and stuff, because it like totally off the housing conversation, but they actually just removed history from my kids' school. They removed history. We're not going to talk about history anymore. And then so they replaced it with economics, which is probably a good thing because
all history?
They moved history from
Oh, I was like waiting for it to say a portion thereof.
No, they removed history.
Oh,
they removed history and replaced it with economics, which is fine because they didn't even teach them how to balance a checkbook. And the thing is that my kid has a good foundation. The kids I feel sorry for are the ones that don't have any history background. So, and I was surprised how many parents, like, it isn't even a conversation. When my kid came home and told me this, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, but whatever. I'm just like, I'm not going to make waves. I'm going to graduating. I'm just not going to make waves. Matt Daniels says, hi there, Eddie and Kristina Smallhorn. How are you in Louisiana? Question, how much are Louisiana heating costs and property taxes as many folks are moving to a warmer climate with inflation? Here in Louisiana, I live in my house is valuation. I think the last time I did the tax increase was, I think right at 325, and I pay $2,000 in property tax a year, just under. It's like 1973 or something a year. And then what I pay we pay, if you average it out, about $100 a month for the electricity. It's $23 for gas. Our water, that's, I guess if you average out the water, it'd be about $100. But we have 2 girls that love to shower for endless amounts of time, and we have a tankless water heater with endless water. So that's they'll be in there. I'm like, hey, someone's gonna pay for this. Get out of there. And they come out, and they're all wrinkled, like prunes. Like, get out there. They're all red like a tomato, like they've been boiling in there. That's what it means to have little girls. So that's what the cost, if you figure it all out, that's how much it is here.
I have no idea what my numbers are. I'm very irresponsible. I automatically pay all my bills. I have no idea what any of mine are.
We break it up. So I pay the property taxes. Eddie pays the mortgage. I paid for the down payment. He pays for the utilities. We break it up. We have 2 separate accounts that we handle our stuff. We handle up on this. It says, Melissa Bennett says, how would someone with no credit go about getting a home loan? I don't buy anything on credit, and I don't have any credit cards. I have no debt, and I pay cash for everything. This is a terrible thing if you want to purchase a house, which this happened to my sister. I'll let you, each of you can get in on this, but sure. Let me just tell you what happened to my sister. My sister, since she was 23 years old, had gotten herself in huge trouble with her credit. So from there on forward, after she paid everything off, she's like, I will never touch a credit card again. I will pay everything in cash. So that way I don't have to worry about not being able to purchase something. So she needed a car, she saved up, and she bought it cash, everything. So then it comes time for her to purchase a house. And the guy at the bank said is like she was a ghost, like she didn't exist. If he did not know any better and see that she was sitting across the table, he would have thought that she was trying to use a dead person's Social Security card. And it took forever for her to establish the fact that she was, first of all, a real person that could get credit. So she had to do one of these credit cards where you pay like so much amount at one specific time. They would tell her, okay, now's the time you're going to pay $20. And then it would up her. It was like this sneaky little thing.
Secured credit card?
Yes, it was a secured credit card. So she could keep paying on certain things, and they tell her when to pay it, and then she would pay it. Super crazy. And it's terrible that we've gotten to the point where it doesn't matter. You have to have a credit card. You have to have credit history in order to buy anything, like a car. As difficult as it to buy a house, to buy a car is just as difficult. So just you're going to have to work with a credit, not, I know it sounds crazy, but repair person. It's not a repair, even though you don't have any credit, but they can tell you exactly how to establish credit so you are able to purchase a house. What do you have to say, Tanya? Cool.
So I work with a lot of first-time home buyers who are immigrants, and they have no credit history either. And they've referred me lots of wonderful people. And my dad was in that position in 1976 when he bought his first house. So working with a mortgage broker who can help manually underwrite the person, it is more legwork, but it is definitely possible. And most of them, knock on wood, have not had to get the secured credit card, but they do provide bank statements, and they do provide proof of timely payments for utilities, rent, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes it could be as simple as the landlord writing a letter saying that they have, this many months they have paid on time, things like that. So it's creating a document history.
But I have a question for this, though.
Sure.
Will they pay a higher interest rate because of that? Because they do not have much of a credit history.
I haven't seen that. They rely more heavily on debt to income ratio at that point.
Okay, I was just wondering. What do you have to say there, Malcolm?
I don't really know. I don't really have much
Good answer.
Yeah,
That's honest.
Yeah, I'll skip. I don't know.
All right. Well, yeah. I will say, if you're in a rural area and your credit is, hasn't necessarily been established, like you're brand new to the home purchasing process, I would look into rural development, the USDA rural development loans if you're in a rural area, because they do have some fantastic plans for getting a home loan, my friends. So just FYI, we do a lot of those here around Louisiana, shockingly enough. I know. Eddie, you want to put up another question on the screen there, my friend? It says, Diamond Haynes says, I didn't raise rates on my renters. See, that's I don't know. Some people did. Do you know what some people did? This is no joke. Some people were they intentionally rose the rates on their apartment complexes, or their apartments or their condos intentionally, so that way those people would move out, so they could resell them. They could sell them. Like they were like, your lease is almost up. We're raising your rent another $400. And like these people were like, well, we can't afford that. And they're like, sorry. I saw an elderly woman. She had been paying the same rate there in Austin, Texas for the last 4 years. And they sent her a letter, and they're like, we're going to be charging $400 more. She was on a fixed income. She's been living there forever. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And of course there's nowhere else for her to move, for her to get on the plans that they have there for people that, need help. She's about to become homeless. The wait list for her to get assistance is 5 years. 5 years. How do people know in 5 years, I think I'm going to be homeless? So that's probably when I need benefits, is in 5 more years. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out now, so that way I'm ready for when I'm homeless. What? It's bad. My next video is about homelessness and how it's directly correlated to affordable housing.
So I have an opinion on this. So let me give you my opinion on this. So
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So here's the situation. Like, because of inflation, landlords have benefited from appreciation and home values going up. The average person, though, has actually gotten a pay decrease effectively. How many people do you know that their employers gave them a 7% raise just to keep up with inflation? Virtually none. And really, they would have had to give them a raise last year to keep up with inflation from last year, and a raise in 2021. Nobody has. So virtually all wage earners have gotten a significant pay decrease in the last 12 to 24 months. And for us landlords to be like, hey, our home value's gone up, so I'm going to raise the rent on you. It's just like kicking them in the nuts. It's while they're down. Like, it's terrible. Like, there's no reason to. Like, my mortgage didn't go up. Eventually, my taxes may go up, but they're usually capped at how much they can raise them a year. So eventually I may raise my rent a little bit if my taxes or the HOA goes up. As of right now, like I'm not going to do that to my tenant. And I also say that having a good tenant is a huge, huge deal. You know, having to go with the house vacant for 2 months and then, you know, finding another tenant is a pain in the neck. And just a house vacant for 2 months, you know, let's say I lose $2,000 by paying that mortgage on your rent coming in, like that, it would take me a good year or 2 years to earn back that $2,000 that I'm losing with the rent increase. So I have a good tenant. I wanna keep her in there as long as I can. I wanna, you know, it's a symbiotic relationship between me and my tenant.
Now you raise only when the taxes,
Mm-hmm.
and the insurance go up,
Correct.
and that seems fair. And when this whole
and
thing,
I make that clear. I actually send them the policy saying this is the increase,
Mhm.
and I use it as a tool. I say I encourage you to talk to your employer about a pay increase to offset these costs, and it actually works.
Mhm.
But I'm not. I make it clear I'm not making any more money. This is literally going towards costs.
Yep. And then when this pandemic started, we went to our renters and we said, look, we know that this is bad, right? Like this is bad. This is what we need to pay flat. Like we will not make 1 rent cent more. If you guys can pay that for the next couple months until you get, you know, we find out what's going on, that will work for us. And they did. That's exactly what they were like. They couldn't believe it because we knocked on their door before they even asked. And one of them was a nurse, and yeah, they were really happy. But I think it's if landlords worked more with good tenants, we would have a lot less problems between each other. But talking is a hard thing for people for some reason. So
lines of communication,
open communication is really hard. And I can honestly say too, this is off topic a little bit. When you have a conversation and it's a serious conversation, when it's about money, never do this. Never text. Don't go through a messenger. Pick up the phone and talk to somebody, because words can be misconstrued and the intent of words can be misconstrued when you type it out, you know? So I would strongly suggest make that phone call, right? And if you're worried or concerned that the money amount will be off, you can write in that text per the conversation we just had. You're only going to be raising my rent $100, like you said, correct? And then you can get it. Then you'll have documentation, but have that conversation with them first on the phone, because it'll make a big difference for you and for them. So just question says, Debbie, I'm about 50% equity. I'm about 50% equity. Would it make sense to tap that to pay off high interest credit cards? I would definitely do that. 100%. Absolutely. Debbie is going to be one of our new moderators, by the way.
Absolutely, Debbie. I'm just echoing what Kristina said. 100%. Yes.
Get rid of that. High interest credit cards are nothing but a suck on your humanity. Yeah, like they're terrible.
Yeah, I mean, if you can borrow money at probably, I don't know, a home equity line of credit is what, 5-6% or something like that. But to pay off a 23%, 25% credit card, yes, that's a very smart move. Very savvy.
If you can get a HELOC, some banks are not letting you get a HELOC, but I noticed that local lenders in your area will give you a HELOC on your home, even if you do not have. Let's just say, I'm just giving you for instance, what if your home loan was with Bank of America? That doesn't mean you can't go to your local, credit union, and they can still get a HELOC through them, even though your home is mortgaged through Bank of America.
We got tons of billboards in Pittsburgh, throughout Pittsburgh, for different small banks that are pushing, and the rates are much lower than 5 or 6%. Of course, there's super fine print that you can't read when you're at the red light, but I have had some clients and friends do it for that exact reason recently. And the rates are, of course, it depends on your own financial picture, but it's out there and it's a great option.
Eddie and I used to get in the credit card rat race several times when we first got married. We were having fun. We never, we were first married. We didn't live together beforehand. So of course we're like, we need this and we need this and we need this and everything for our apartment, and they were like, then the bill came in. I'm like, And then we paid it all off and we're like, we're fine. And then we had kids. And then we were like, we need this and we need this. And I'm like, we are never doing this again. We're never doing this again. I never did it again, but sometimes it takes a few more times to get so good. Yeah, but that credit card it can be a rat race, man.
Mhm.
And then if anything bad happens,
Let me explain how credit cards are such a scam and banks in general are such a scam. This is a hot topic here, but the craziest thing is when you walk into the bank and they say, you give us your money, we'll give you 0.1% interest on that money. We'll then turn around and give that same money back to you in the form of a credit card and only charge you 23% interest. And there absolutely are people that have bought this narrative and they have $10,000 worth of debt and $10,000 worth of in their savings account. And they don't know that they're just losing 23% of that by doing that, by playing this game. So I am not a fan of credit card debt at all. Home loan debt, though, I am a huge, huge fan of, especially right now where inflation is outpacing the mortgage interest rate. I think home loan debt is fantastic debt. Credit card debt, I never, ever touch it. I haven't touched it since my early 20s.
I did this. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I did this one time. It was, have you ever gotten the checks in the mail for your credit card? Right.
Yeah.
They're like, pay off all your other pay off all your other credit card debts by writing these checks. So I was like, okay. And I just was like, I didn't know any better. I was young and stupid. But then I was like, well, I can condense all of my credit card debt into one credit card. So I only have one payment. And then so all of it consolidated together, and the price for the credit card checks that had come in for that interest rate was actually higher than the credit card itself. And I was like, oh my gosh. But luckily I had 90 days of 0% interest on that. So then I figured out how to make the payments for those other little credit cards that I rolled into the big credit card to get rid of that really fast. But we were eating ramen noodles and some baked beans for quite some time. Thank God that was before kids came
Getting
around.
it done.
Yeah, well, whatever. I was like, we're gonna have sand tonight, with some salt. It'll be tasty sand. Crow Homestead said, why should inflation, etc., really affect the situation? Those with more money and or better credit will still have priority. Why would inflation really affect the situation? I don't really understand the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he means by priority, but I will say that the truth is that the wealthy benefit from inflation and the lower income earners, they get screwed over. They get hurt the most. 50% of Americans, 50% don't own any stocks whatsoever, own zero investments in stocks. The wealthy, they have most of their money in assets that appreciate. Stocks, real estate, gold, cryptocurrencies. And with inflation, all those assets appreciate in value. But the lower, income earners, a lot of the wage earners, they're effectively just getting pay decreases every single year. And the ones that are not benefiting from the stock market going crazy because of inflation. I mean, I think we hit 71 all-time highs in the stock market last year. It's just constantly all-time high after all-time high. The wage earners, people under $100,000 a year and everything, they are just getting pay decreases every year. So it really is a scam.
Well, it's a scam because we're not taught. Nobody's taught how to manage money when you're in high school. Never. I mean, it hasn't been since I was in high school.
Is now, which is great.
Well,
right.
It's economics, right? Yeah. That's all it is. It's not really like how to manage your money, how to buy stocks. What is a money market account? What is this? What is a savings account? Why does this work? It isn't any of those kinds of mechanics. What is Bitcoin? Like they can't even have those kinds of discussions because the teachers don't even know what Bitcoin is or, any kind of cryptocurrency is or NFTs or anything like that. And these public schools kids are not taught this. Right. And I think it's all by design, honestly, if I'm going to be for real. I think they're trying to keep us as workers, little bees in the hive, just trying to work the machine. We're going to keep you stupid. So that way you don't know how to make more money than us. So you can't work, we're going to sell you the dream, but we're not going to teach you how to get that dream. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, I hate to say it, like I love teachers, but you have a teacher who maybe is making $40,000, $50,000 a year teaching your children financial education. You know, they don't know all these high level things.
Yeah.
But they're given no. Well, here's the thing, though. They're given a syllabus that they cannot. This is it. This is
Right.
what you're going to teach on the 16th of September. You are not going to veer from this syllabus. This is all you're going to teach. On Friday, you're going to give a test. On Monday, this is the next thing you're going to be taught. They have no choice. This is what they're taught. They are teaching this and only this in their school district. They are not allowed to teach anything. They're allowed to give out paperwork. They have to fill out a bunch of forms. They have to fill out, I mean, the amount of work, stupid work that they have to do, and they're not allowed to teach anymore. I feel so bad for school teachers. And I never thought in a million years I would ever say this, because when I was in high school, I wasn't a big fan of the school teacher. But now when I see what they go through, it's ridiculous. They're not teaching anymore. They're told what they are going to be speaking about, what they're going to be giving papers about. They're like, and they're going to be given a ton of work to fill out on every single student. It's sickening. It's kind of gross. Kind of gross, not going to lie. Do we have another question there, Eddie? Lori says, question. I have an excellent credit, but no money down. How can I get a loan? Ooh, FHA, VA, rural development, rural development. Yeah, USDA. Yep, rural development loans. Yeah, you could totally get, if you have good credit and no money down, no problem.
And I have no idea, Malcolm. I don't know if you do, but whenever a client comes to me with a question like that, I have no idea what down payment assistance programs exist at any given moment. I know that they are in Pennsylvania, so I push them there and I say, have that conversation, because there are a lot out there.
Yeah, there's bond money that comes out every once in a while. There's some that are like local to your county that they'll say, and they'll say, well, you have to live in the house for 3 years and then you won't have to pay it back. There's all sorts of different down payment assistance programs in your specific area. It may not happen right now. It may be 6 months from now, but your lenders will know that. Do you have something like that over there, Malcolm?
You know, we don't, for some reason. Not that I know of. We don't really have that many Maryland specific programs that I'm really aware of. We get a lot of VA loans here in Maryland, a lot of military bases here. FHA loans, obviously, you only need 3% down, which is pretty easy for a lot of people, or easy enough for a lot of people. And then we do have the USDA rural development loans, which are only applicable in like the rural areas. And so it's not like that's only part of Maryland, but I've worked with several of those as well. And those are 100% financing, which is a great deal.
Yep, sure is. I love me some rural development loans. Every time I'm like, you got a good deal. Like their parents are like, well, I'm not sure about their loan. I'm like, yes, they did good. They did totally fine. I promise you. They don't have to pay anything except for some little tiny cup full of some closing costs and some inspections. They're fine. You know. Anyways, Eddie, you got another question for us, Eddie? I can hear in the kitchen. I can hear in the kitchen. He goes,
like out of this year.
Debbie Brady says, Eddie Smallhorn, you need to get blankets for Kristina. She looks like her teeth are rattling.
That was pretty comfortable sweatshirt you got on there, a little hoodie.
Yeah, this is Philip DeFranco. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Eddie's refusing to turn on the heater until it gets to 60.
Yeah. A lawnmower says, hey, I missed Lawnmower's comment. Put Lawnmower's comment back there. Lawnmower, I think Eddie is refusing to turn on the heater until it gets to 60 degrees. This is the truth. I don't like the heat on in my house. I will turn on the fireplace with no problem, but I will not turn on the central heat in my house. It got down to like 62, and the girls were like, they were wearing a sweatshirt with a fur trim, and they're like, Mom, can we please turn on the heat? I'm like, just for a minute, just to take the chill out of the air. Once the chill's out, it's going back off. I know. Cruelty.
Malcolm, I am not this weak-willed. I go outside in a t-shirt in Baton Rouge.
Oh my God.
It's nice here. It's lovely. Karen says, is there any speculation on tax on properties bought by foreign investors in the U.S.? I know because I know.
British Columbia.
British Columbia
has to the lower mainland.
Right. So I know that Canada's had this big problem with foreign investors, and what they've been doing is buying up properties, leaving them vacant. They're just doing it to dump cash in other places, right? And then Canada's like, you're not going to do that anymore. You're going to leave it vacant. We're going to tax the living bejesus out of you. So then they were like, oh, great. We'll put some renters in there now, because they weren't maintaining the properties or anything. There is no, and I could be wrong about this, but in my area, there is no specific graph on how many homes are actually purchased by foreign investors. We have a graph on how many people or how many investors that are buy homes, but none of them specifically for like they would consider foreign investors. Do they have anything like that in your area that would can be considered like Chinese,
Well,
Saudi Arabian?
So when foreign investors do invest in Pittsburgh, they automatically put tenants in because there are so many municipal requirements to have a local property manager. So they're like, that's not going to be an issue. It's not going to be speculative. Like they're buying for a return on investment.
Oh, so you guys already had that established way.
Yeah, and it's not costly. These rental registrations are sometimes $10 for the municipality, or just to be issued the lien letter. The buyer has to sign off on and assign a local property manager with an air mile radius. So it's pretty smart actually. It's to keep the speculations from getting out of control. Malcolm?
Yeah, do you have that in Malcolm?
I have no idea. Nope, I don't know. I don't think it's a thing here in Maryland. I've never even heard of like foreign investors buying real estate here in Maryland. So it just may not be a popular thing here. But I will say this shows that the wealthy are investing in real estate just for that appreciation, probably sight unseen. They just want that real estate because they know those assets appreciate with inflation and just kind of appreciate over time.
I'll explain to you a state that probably has the most foreign investors that own probably most of it, and that's Hawaii. Hawaii has, oh, look at this. Eddie's so good. U.S. foreign statistic is facts. Foreign investment property refers to the purchase of real estate by foreign national. It is a major source of investment in the United States and property sales for foreign buyers, totaling $54 billion US in 2021. In recent years, the largest share of foreign residential buyers originated from Canada and Mexico, followed by China. Foreign buyers in U.S. real estate prefer properties in the suburban areas to properties in small towns and central areas of major cities. This is probably why it's overwhelmingly a share of the sales is, I can't see Eddie, you're gonna have to scroll. There we go. Detached single family homes. And this is true. It doesn't matter if it's foreign investors or local investors. They all buy the least expensive single family homes. And they're not just buying single family homes. They're also buying manufactured homes and manufactured home parks. And they're intentionally raising the rates to make more money. That is true. It isn't just foreign investors, but that's an interesting statistic. I don't know what I was saying beforehand, but it was important, but I can't remember because I threw that thing up on the screen.
Jeez. Question. Thank you for your videos. Thank you, Kristina. They are 4 years from retirement. And Keith wants to sell his house in Georgia to buy or build a smaller house. Should he just keep watching prices as long as they are going up?
Okay. I don't know what your long-term goal is. So if you look at the cost of manufactured homes here, and they have gone up, they are on a 15-month wait list in order for, if you were to order it today, it takes about 15 months before it actually gets to your location. And there's no promise that the price that you purchased it at today will be the same as by the time they deliver it. Somebody just messaged me today. The manufactured home, I'm sorry, the modular home that they were going to buy was $120 per square foot. That was the low end. 120. That's not including the land. That's just the house. That is just the house for a modular home. And I'm like, it's because of the supply chain issues, 100%. Right. And I don't think that we're going to see a flattening of home costs when it comes to building brand new until we get these supply chain issues taken care of. What do you say, Mr. Malcolm?
Yeah, the supply chain issues is still a thing going on. It still is a very real thing. I have a client right now. She's buying a home and she's trying to renovate her home. And she's been waiting on siding since October. So October, November, December, January. And they say finally in February, the contractor will get the siding so we can replace this patch of siding on her house. Like we are still definitely seeing supply chain issues, especially with lumber and really, everything like appliances and sinks and floor tiles. We're just seeing those supply chain issues. Yeah, it's still just a crazy time right now in the world.
Especially if you're building brand new homes. I don't know how often you've come on the show, but or you've seen one of my live streams, but builders will put people under contract, and let's just say you put under contract the house, that the 3-bedroom house was listed at 120. You go ahead and you say, yes, I'm going to buy it for 120. They say it's going to take 6 to 9 months for it to be built. By the time it's finished being completed, the builder comes back to you and say, now I know that we sold it to you for 120, but our costs have gone up exponentially. So now you owe us 175,000. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm only approved for 150,000.
Yep.
And they're like, I'm sorry, we're going to go ahead and sell this to somebody else. And then you're out of house. So that was something that had never happened here in Louisiana since I've been a real estate agent here for almost 15 years. And I knew it was happening in California. Within 3 months, it started happening here, and people were having to renegotiate their contracts because it was just the cost of labor and supplies and materials and delays and all sorts of stuff caught up with the builders, and they needed to pass that back on to home buyers, which I think stinks. It really stinks. But I don't want them to lose money. I don't want them to go out of business either, but I'm sure they're still making a heck of a profit. I can't imagine a home builder just going, you know what, I'm just going to break even on this house.
Right.
I'm going to do this for the good of humanity.
I'm just raising rent
Right
just to
now.
cover my increased costs.
Yeah. I don't see that. All right. Jennifer Lego says, is it easier to win a bid on a 2-bedroom versus 3 beds? Single, no debt, conventional loan. Is it easier to win a bid on a 2-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom? It depends on who you're bidding against, and it depends on your area that you're at. Like, if you're bidding against investors who are looking for rental properties, I love me a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, but I won't overpay. So I don't know.
It depends on your area.
Yeah,
time.
That's a big depending thing.
Mhm.
What do you say?
I'd say that the demand for a 2-bedroom home is far less than a 3-bedroom home. Almost every single client, 95% of the clients I work with, I ask them, all right, what are you looking for? Well, at least 3 bedrooms. Very few people want a 2-bedroom home. Very few families want a 2-bedroom home.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Investors love them. I love a 1 or 2-bedroom house. They rent like that.
So it can be less competitive. You probably have less offers you're going up against with a 2-bedroom home than a 3-bedroom. And what you can look for is there a spot that you can add another bedroom? Can you add an addition? Can you convert the garage into a 3-bedroom? Can you do something like that? I've seen a lot of homes that flippers buy a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, and they somehow find a spot to add a 3rd bedroom and a 2nd bathroom, turn it into a 3-2. And that is the quickest way to add equity to your house is you have a 2-1 and you turn it into a 3-2, or a 3-1, you turn it into a 3-2. That's the quickest way to add a lot of equity to a home.
You gave me when you said garage, another way you could earn more income. So if you have that 2-bedroom house, you could take that garage and turn it into its own little apartment. And if, like they call it, an auxiliary dwelling unit. So it could be its own apartment. So you could rent that out, and that could help cover your mortgage for that 2-bedroom house that you're living in. Just FYI, just something to think about.
I like that.
Question. Villa Rica, Georgia, neighbor bought a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,600 square built in mid 2018 for $227, listed on 1/6/22 at $365,000. Yep, one under contract. On 114. I plan to list mine 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2018, paid $217 for it in mid 2019 in spring. Any advice? My advice is to get a local real estate agent in your area. And now I am connected with 5 very good real estate agents that I know specifically in Georgia. If you want to fill out the referral form, I can connect you with those agents. Go to my website. It's KristinaSmallhorn.com. Click on the referral. It says or book a call with me. I think it says at the bottom of the screen, and you can just fill out the referral form, and then I'll give you a call and we'll talk on the phone, and I'll set you up with one of the real estate agents I know in Georgia. Georgia. I will not sing to you on the phone, I promise. Oh, look, there I am with my foot in the air.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! My kids said I need to
and your mic.
this microphone. As a matter of fact, this microphone. My kids said I need to cover up my foot. They said that there's something weird about showing my feet on the internet. I was unaware of this. They said I need to put like a pixelated thing on my foot. I don't know. My kids, that's a real thing. My kids told me that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to start an Instagram account, KristinaSmallhornsFoot.com or whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, apparently this is what the kid said. I can make a lot of money from my feet. I'm like, that's disgusting. I'm not going to do that.
I'm
No.
good.
Yeah, this is some real estate that's not for sale, and that's my feet. Malcolm, you were on the old social media webs too. Like if people want to search for you, where we can find you on YouTube, right?
Yeah, pretty much YouTube. Malcolm Lawson Realtor is my YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's all about Maryland. And he's got some other, like, it isn't just real estate stuff. He's got some cool stuff like the scariest places in Maryland, right?
Yeah,
like haunted, you got haunted stuff.
It was like top 10 haunted places in Maryland, top 10 abandoned places in Maryland. That's one that I got. And then a lot more stuff just about the real estate market in general and how crazy things are right now and how to pay off your mortgage early if that's something you guys are interested in.
I have to tell you, Malcolm is he's a jack of all trades too. So if you go to Survival Know-How, Eddie, go look up that Survival Know-How. He is a survivalist because Mr. Malcolm Lawson was in the Air Force and he knows some stuff, and he has a whole property out there now, and he gets to do some really cool videos. You have you're one of my favorite channels. I don't know if you know this, but I actually watch your channel.
No way.
Because, well, I told you I have this irrational fear about zombies.
Yeah.
And so
Not
years
irrational.
ago,
No.
years ago, you had said you had a survival. You were like, yeah, I have a survival channel. And I was like, oh, okay. So I looked it up. I'm like, oh, this is perfect for the zombie apocalypse. Like I started watching all that stuff. Yeah. There it is. Look,
there he is.
There he is.
Look at that handsome devil.
Yeah.
I think when we first started talking, I think this channel was about 40,000 subscribers and your channel was like 3,000 subscribers.
Correct.
I was like, yeah, I want to teach her a thing or two about YouTube. And now you're up to what, 168,000, something like that. You're crushing it.
Wow.
This is my outdoor channel right here. I still upload it to this one.
Oh, I have something to show you, Malcolm. Cece Moon said, "It's cute. Is he single?"
I am actually.
Yeah, he is. All the single ladies. His DMs are open.
Yeah, slide in my DMs. Feel free.
His DMs are open. Sherry says, question, do your guests, what do your guests feel about tiny home future? We baby boomers want them. I have an opinion, but you can voice your opinion. What do you think about tiny homes for baby boomers?
I think that they're fantastic. I think that we need more housing structures where people can, newer housings. In Pittsburgh, the housing structure is one of the oldest in the entire country. We have the oldest housing stock in the entire country, which I always add on to. Yes, we have some of the most affordable housing in America, but it comes with a lot of issues. So when I think about tiny houses, I think new, I think reasonable, and I think headache free.
And they need to be wheelchair accessible because if we're building them for the baby boomers, there's health issues that come up. So if you're going to build smaller homes for baby boomers, you better make them where they are
ADA.
Yeah, thank you.
ADA.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you say, Malcolm?
I love tiny homes. I love the concept of them, just downsizing. You don't, my parents are almost 70 now. They have 3 acres of land and it's way too much land for them to cut and, maintain. They don't need that, right? They could totally benefit by, just cutting down that maintenance, getting a smaller house. You're going to save money. Every month your heating bills are going to be a lot lower. Your taxes are going to be a lot lower. And you really have to start looking at, what is sustainable? How can I rearrange everything so that I could live off of a fixed income for the next 20, 30 years if I had to? And downsizing to a cute little tiny home and reducing all your monthly expenses is a great way to do that.
100%.
I had a woman who, I don't know if you've seen it, but I did a video about a lady. She was 67. She was 62 at the time. She's 67 now. She decided to take a shed. She took a $6,000 shed that was a repo shed. So she got it for a steal. So it was $6,000. She put it on a piece of land. She spent $35,000 and that's her retirement home. She lives everything lock, stock and barrel, with the well, the electricity, the cable, all of that stuff cost her $35,000 and to fix up this shed to make it an actual home. And she got it certified here in the parish before they made that rule. It was before they made the rule that the house has to be over 600 square feet to be approved. She did that.
For those who don't know, parish is equivalent to county.
Yes, I'm sorry. In Louisiana, we call counties parishes. And some people were like, why are you always talking about your church? I'm like, no, not my church. Javier pops in here. He says, hi, my mom was kicking me out of my basement. Can I crash at your place while the market crashes? Thanks. Hey, guess what, Javier? I know that you're lying because you're buying it. You have a house. You have a house. You have kids. You have a family. I think you would have a Tesla. Jerry says, Kristina, can you put a timer on your tankless water heater? That's a very smart.
Ingenious.
Yeah, that's a very smart idea. Man. And the thing is that they've ran it so much that it actually has like kicked out the breaker. Eddie found it. That's not a bad idea, Edward.
Buy now.
Yeah, I think Eddie's in on the deal here.
Oh, that's funny.
So, somebody is like got some cap locks here. Kristina, what do you think of selling an own home? Nice area in a popular city to move in the middle of nowhere. Solo B, female, on land until I can figure out what to live in to avoid a future danger. What do you think of me selling?
Future danger?
I don't know what you're afraid of.
This is an apocalypse question, I think, right?
I think it's Malcolm's question.
Is it apocalypse question? Well, I mean, I've often said this. I would sell everything. Once the kids are gone, I would sell everything. And either A, I would live here in the United States in the middle of the woods of Nowhereville, like where I wouldn't have a soul around me for a mile. So that way I don't have to worry about, unless it's like Jason from Friday the 13th was going after me. That's what I mean. They're Eddie knows the full name. I don't know Jason's full name. That's an idea, right? That's one idea. And my other idea is to sell everything and to move to Portugal, just like totally like dip out of the United States. I don't know. I'm still like on the fence on what I want to do. I can see you I don't know how old or young you are.
Right.
If I was young now, I would totally I would downsize everything, live very, very small, and then invest all my money into other little
Bitcoin.
ventures.
Yeah.
all different ventures, not just Bitcoin, but just different ventures. And I would do a lot of traveling. I would travel a lot. That's what I'd be doing if I was young. No longer young. This is no spring chicken. Raphael says, question. Is the housing market prices still rising in California? Yes. And how do you take advantage of the ADU grant here in California? Thinking of buying a shed and turning it into a tiny home. I actually have somebody for you. So I want you to go to Eddie. Will you pull up this channel? It's called How to ADU. The guy that runs it, his name is Ryan O'Connell. Yes, Ryan O'Connell. Smartest kid that when it comes to affordable housing options and ADUs. And he will start watching his content when it comes to California laws and all the new things that are happening. And even in the specific areas, he is always constantly updating you. He updates you on TikTok and on YouTube. It's called How to ADU.
What is ADU?
Auxiliary Dwelling Unit.
Whoop, there it is.
Whoop, there it is. Eddie's, are you going to scroll down on that, Eddie? Because all we can see is Raphael's picture. Here we go. Here we go. There he is. Yep.
There he is.
Yep. I know he looks like he's like 10, but he's really not. He looks like a little kid, but he's really not. He's a very intelligent man when it comes to this. Yeah, look, see, it even says studio shed at ADU costs. You can just click right on that video, and it's all specifically tailored for California. So that's
cool.
Yeah, I know. I've had him on my channel before. He's a smart dude. I like him a lot.
Very nice.
Liberty Returns, longtime follower here on the channel, says, have you heard about the USDA 502 direct loan that you can get sweat equity and 2.5% interest rate? I have not. But please, here's a pen. I'm writing this down right now. Oh, here we go. Eddie's so good. The Section 502 grant guaranteed loan program assists approved lenders in providing low and moderate income households the opportunity to own an adequate, modest, decent, safe, sanitary dwellings as a primary residence in eligible rural areas. Eligible applicants may purchase, build, rehabilitate, and improve or relocate a dwelling in a eligible rural area with 100% financing. The program provides 90% loan to note guarantee to approved lenders in order to reduce the risk of extending the 100% loans to eligible rural home buyers. So no money down for those who qualify. Well, you would definitely have to work with a lender that is proficient, that totally understands USDA loans, because there's some people that, I can do rural development loans. They don't understand these programs. You have to work with a certified USDA rural development lender that really does know those programs back and forth. That's
100%.
That's what I strongly suggest. Malcolm, you know what? I have kept you here for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Are you still available to go, or do you need to go?
Let's do it. No, I'm single. I got nothing going on.
So slide into Malcolm's DMs.
If you want to slide into Malcolm's DMs while we're on the live stream, we can read those aloud. Just kidding. Eddie, you got any other questions for us? Okay, Karen Gee says, does it make sense to take out a line of credit to do home renovations? There are a couple of big items to bring up the place to code. What is your opinion about this, Malcolm?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So there are some renovations that you are going to get a return on that investment. There's some renovations you're probably not going to get a return on that investment. If you do a little research into that. Like I was saying, if you have if your kitchen hasn't been updated in 30 years, yeah, you probably get a return on that investment by updating your kitchen. But if you just updated your kitchen 5 years ago and it's like halfway decent, you may not get a return on that investment. But if you're thinking about selling your home, you want it to sell quickly, what I tell people is that you want to get your home to meet the minimum requirements for an FHA and a VA loan for that move-in ready condition. It just means that everything has to work. It can't have any holes in your walls. You have to have a floor in there. So if you don't have a carpet, you just have plywood floors, take out a loan and do some renovations to kind of fix up your house a little bit. I think sometimes that can absolutely make sense.
You do that a lot probably in your area.
Yes, and handrails. Handrails are a must. And your decks are a big thing in Pittsburgh, that they have like crossbars that are hazards to small children, and FHA and VA are gonna. So use the line of credit to do upgrades that will make sense.
Right. And I don't know if you're selling it or you're upgrading, what your purpose is to upgrading it. But if it's to kind of bring your house up to the point where like you're having a hard time keeping it heated, you need insulation or you need a new roof. Yeah, definitely do that. Don't wait, because the more you wait on those specific things, the more expensive, and you might even cause even more problems waiting for those kinds of things to be repaired. So just FYI on that. And not only that, you could take it like a HELOC out, and then if afterwards and everything was all said and done, if you wanted to refinance afterwards and roll all that into one, you could possibly do that. Just something to think about if you're wanting just one payment. So your financial advisor, this is not financial advice. Your financial advisor or your lender can talk to you about those options. Eddie, you got another question for us? Eddie. Vandervoort says, is the middle class dead? A lot of people do not want to raise families because of housing prices. I would say that the middle class is becoming a very thin piece of paper. I don't even know what middle class is anymore, honestly, because it's like that. I feel like we're the haves or have-nots. I feel like the rich people are sitting there go, let them eat cake. I feel like they're laughing all the way to the bank. When the whole thing with the CDC with the 5 days went down, there was no science based on that, none whatsoever. They all came down to the economy, and they were like, if you're testing out fine after 5 days, you can go back to work, and if you're still positive but you feel fine, just wear 2 masks. It had nothing to do with science. It had everything to do with the economy. And who runs the economy? The very, very uber wealthy. And that they want to keep us in the wheel, the cog, just keep going. They keep going. But I think a lot of younger people, millennials for sure, have said, we're not having kids. Why would we have kids? We can't even afford the homes that we grew up in as kids. You go in those neighborhoods, you don't see any kids playing around. They all say, oh, it's because they're on their computer. They're like, no, it's because we can't afford those homes. You know, the people that buy houses now are very well educated, high wage earner in my area. Like the houses that would have been considered first time home buyer houses are now people that were very good, high paying jobs, high paying wages. And that's a shame, because other people that live in that neighborhood were just, you know, regular people that were just had regular jobs. And now they're like, we've stepped up in the world, didn't do anything. We just bought early. My neighbor's a doctor. So Jerry says we are with the real estate crash in where are we with the real estate crash in China? Wasn't a big story about a month ago? What happened? It was a big story because people needed to sell newspapers. There's no doubt about it. China's real estate problems are spreading evenly to once healthy.
Once healthy developers.
Yeah, if you cut off the word, Eddie, I can't read it. China's real estate problems are spreading even to once healthy developers. All this thing's going to take time. When they made it, the headlines splashed, they made it seem like tomorrow this is going to make all of the banks fall apart. Think of it as like the Morgan Stanley debacle, and we're going to have to dig these people out. And, you know, that caused a housing market crash. I mean, it was like somebody pulled a plug out from the wall, because there were people that were selling and buying houses like this. And then one day everybody woke up and was like, it was like they woke up from the hangover and they're like, how much partying did we do? You know, wow, this is really bad. And then prices started to tank. And that's what they felt like was going to happen when this story originally came out. I knew it wasn't going to be like, it's going to be like a ripple effect, but it isn't going to be like a tsunami like people made it sound like. If you want me to pronounce that word, Eddie, you're out of your mind.
Shimao Group shares briefly plunged more than 17% Friday after Reuters reported the property developer failed to make full repayment on a trust loan. A subsidiary of the company subsequently said in filings it was in talks to resolve the payment. Shares closed more than 5% lower in Hong Kong, while most major developers posted gains for the day.
Yeah, but this was in October 11th of 2020. Yeah. That's October 11th, 2020. Edward.
Or is that the picture that's just from there? The picture above. Yeah. So the article is from the last. Yep.
Oh, January 7th, 2022. Oh, sorry. Oh, you can hear him complaining in the background. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to take some time. All these things are, like I said, they're a ripple effect. They're not necessarily a tsunami. You know, all of these, because we are a world economy, of course, these things affect us. Things that happen in China, things that happen in Hong Kong, things that happen in India, which used to be like, whatever, that's on them, now affects everybody because we are a world economy. But it's a ripple, not a tsunami. What do you say there, Malcolm?
Yeah, I remember the story coming out, and I couldn't even keep up with it. Like, first they're saying, oh, they're going to, you know, they can't pay their debt and the whole world's going to collapse. And then they came out, oh, no, they worked something out. They're going to pay off all this debt. They're good. The China bank's going to back them up or something. And then it flipped. And again, everything's going to collapse. Like, a lot of it is hype. A lot of it is kind of like you said, they're trying to sell headlines. And I just kind of ignored this whole story. I couldn't keep track of it. I'm not even sure where the story is right now. So I don't think it's going to impact us in the long run.
They overextended the amount of products and loans. This is common practice. Like before the last crash, if you looked what China was doing, is they kept building up these cities and nobody lived in the houses.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of similar to what that was happening here again. And but the thing is that these developers are just like our banks here that overextended their loans. They're too big to fail. So they're not going to let them fall on their butt. They're going to wait until the 11th hour for them to go, you know what? Yeah, we'll save you now. They're going to let them sweat and feel really bad for a really long time. And then at the last minute, they'll scoop it right back up. Jerry Prusa said, is supply chain issues enabling Weasley Contractors. Oh, I'm sure. I know that Javier, he was in the chat here. He's talked about this. I know that in Phoenix, Arizona, they've seen a lot of really shoddy work when it comes to new home construction. And I know I can't say any specific builder because I'm a real estate agent, but here in our area, we have a builder that's done some pretty bad stuff as well. So they, I know some clients have filed some lawsuits here with the home build that they got. I don't even know how it passed what you consider county inspection, parish inspection. I don't know how they did it, but I know somebody whose foundation is literally crumbling underneath them.
It's
like
awful.
You could literally take like one of these poke and start poking it, and it's like crumbling underneath it. They built a whole entire house. It closed. And it's useless. It's like built on sand.
Wow, that's terrible. Yeah, I can't even imagine that. You're screwing somebody over. Like some family is getting ruined by this, and some builder is running off making bank.
Do you have to go?
Just a reminder, that's all.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had to go. Question says, would it be wise to buy 2 shed homes and build an additional multi-unit on the property here in California, or be more cost effective than modular homes? Again, this is a how-to ADU guide question when it comes to California and California law. I'm always a big fan of multi-family units. They always return investment wise in other areas. It always turns out to be better. You might even get more of a tax exemption there in California, but I would definitely go to this guy's channel. His name is Ryan O'Connell. Tell him I sent you. Find his last video that he just put out. Right in the whole thing. He answers everybody's questions in there. And I think in his about section too, there's an email address that you can send him an email with all of your questions when it comes to shed homes and multi-unit homes, ADU homes. He's the California expert when it comes to ADUs. That's for sure. And ADU law. ADU. I taught Malcolm a new word today. He didn't know that word. Is Malcolm a ham radio operator?
No, but I used to work on radios when I was in the Air Force. I was a ground radio technician in the Air Force, but no, I don't have a ham radio. I never really got into that.
Oh.
I'm guessing he does. He probably has a ham radio and he wants somebody to talk to.
I don't know, but my dad used to have one. He had a little call log, and when we were kids, he would get on there. Like this is the late 70s, early 80s. I remember my dad had a big old mustache too, and these dark sunglasses. He was this little Italian man, and he just so on top. And he would I remember it was he would be like, "Brick 1 done," and then I'm like, "Dad, you're from New England. Why are you talking with a Southern accent?" So funny. Love my dad. He's a character. He's a character. Christian says, have any of you done a 1031 exchange? I'm thinking of selling one of my properties, and I need putting the proceeds into another. Of course. Go ahead. This is you.
Yes. So Christian, what you need is there we go. Thanks, Eddie. Is a local real estate agent to refer you to a 1031 exchange that will handle it. It cannot be your financial advisor. It cannot be your tax attorney. It cannot be your real estate agent. It cannot be your brother. It cannot be your mother. It has to be a totally separate entity that is licensed and insured to do 1031 exchanges. The fee is very nominal. Typically, it's around $1,000, $1,100. And I am not a tax advisor. However, and I am not a CPA. However, colloquially, you need to spend the money within 6 months. Fact, you do not need to spend all the proceeds. What you can do is you can dump it all in the 1031, and whatever percentage you want to take as income, you can take as a boot. That's what's known as a boot. So if you want to keep back 10%, 20%, whatever, you can stash it all in the 1031, take yourself 6 months to actually close on the new property and step up that value. And the reason behind this in the tax code is to encourage American reinvestment, encourage Americans to reinvest and take a single family to a duplex, to a triplex, and so on and so forth, and continue bettering the properties as they go. That's my jam.
That is your jam. Do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Malcolm?
I do not. No.
What is up with you today? You're usually diarrhea of the mouth, but today you're like, nope, this is on you.
They don't have foreign investors in here and never do 1031 exchange.
Malcolm needs to visit Phoenix,
Add it
Arizona.
to your resume. Love
Hey.
connection.
Yeah, that's with the pink background and everything, huh? Hi, CC,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Are you turning red a little bit? Just a little bit.
Let me
Hey,
turn my
CC
camera
Moon.
off. Hold on.
And CC Moon, I'm gonna let you know in 2 weeks I will be in Phoenix, Arizona. Just FYI, I will be there.
I might be as well. Just
You
FYI, I don't know.
You want to come visit? You're gonna go talk at the. I'm speaking at a lenders conference about the importance of social media and getting to know your client, your avatar on social media.
That's so exciting.
It's so exciting. But next week I'm actually going to South Carolina and I'm meeting with a tiny home. We're watching a love connection here. This is really good. A year from now,
we're in the wedding party.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
live
that's
stream
true.
the whole
Remember
wedding.
when they got together? Or the commitment ceremony.
Yeah, but next week I will be going to North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm meeting with Ellen Pitts, who's also a YouTuber, and I'm visiting a tiny home community that he builds tiny homes. He also does container tiny homes. He has different kinds of ones, and he's building a neighborhood with tiny homes, and it is a real person that isn't scamming. It's a real place. So I'm very excited to meet with him and to share all of that with you. But while I'm on while I'm doing this next week,
work travel.
Tanya is going to be hosting. Eddie will still be the guy in the background doing all the work. And if there's any real estate agents that want to slide in with Tanya and do this together, you're more than welcome to. T has a question, says, how is the housing shortage when it comes to when the population isn't growing? How is there a housing shortage when the population isn't growing? Because there still isn't enough affordable houses. We stopped building enough homes here in the United States after 2007. So there isn't been enough new homes being built for the amount of population that we have, right?
I got an answer for this too, T. This is a great question. So there are still the same number of millennials. So the large new entering home buyers, that population hasn't changed. That's been an effect for 30, 40 years. Millennials are having fewer children. That's a great question because there was a development that went in a school district in my area. And one of the reasons that they were discussing with the developers, so on and so forth, that, we're going to add so many children to the rolls. And they did a study, and it is true. This was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. This is true. They're building more housing units, but instead of sending 3 or 4 children to the school district, they're sending 1 or 2. So in this school district, they have built new housing developments that have sold out 100%, but they've closed 2 elementary schools, like really fast. And the student teacher ratio didn't go up. It wasn't any of that nonsense. It was just millennials are having fewer children. The end.
The end. Boom. Boom. Boy, put an exclamation point on that. That's it. The end. Period. Wow. I like that.
Because it was just a thing that happened. Because it doesn't make sense off the top of your head.
They said this is the first time in history that the population here in the United States is decreasing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, back to your point, Malcolm, of course it's going to be decreasing, because if you're not making more money, how are you supposed to survive? You got student loan debt, you got healthcare costs are absolutely astronomical. Totally off the subject of real estate right at the moment. But did you see Mark Cuban has come out with a drug company that you can buy your drugs that would normally cost, like, some of them are like thousands of dollars a month, for like $25 a month. Wow. And he's not taking insurance. Eddie, if you can pull that up. So Mark Cuban has come up with his own prescription drug company. He's selling everything to you at cost plus 15%. So whatever it costs him, it's all generic drugs, whatever it costs him plus 15%, and it's flat. That's it.
I love it. Good, man.
Yeah.
Rock the boat. Put those corrupt people out of business. Health insurance is such a scam. One of
the things was like, it was a medication for this is it. Yeah. Cost plus. And some of the medications, which normally would cost like $24 a month or $900 a month, he's charging only $36.90, $3.60, $3.90. Some of these medications are thousands of dollars, and he's charging like $10, $15 for it.
Wow. I love it. Good for him, man. What a great way to try to figure out this problem. Leave it up to the free market and to somebody come in and do this rather than the government intervening in some way.
Yeah, so that's just one thing. Like, if you are a millennial that is having to, and no matter what age, some of our medications are absolutely astronomical. So you may want to go on that website and check it out. If you do want it, like I'm not even sponsoring this by any means, but I do want you to know, if you are going to use that specific website to get your medications, just know you can need a brand new prescription from your doctor. You can't like take your prescription from CVS and switch it over to that one. You're going to have to get a whole new written prescription, or your doctor can call it in. Just FYI, just to let you know. Eddie, put it on more. Malcolm's survival channel made me wonder. Yes, I'm a ham. Yes, he is. He saw that he saw
right.
That.
Yeah, I'm not a ham. Sorry, bro.
Well, everybody, if you have any other questions, we're gonna go ahead and close this out for the day. And because I've had Malcolm here for an hour and 34 minutes, and CC Moon can go ahead and now slide into his DM. So I hope you guys got some really great information from this. Tanya's going to be taking over next week. We don't know who her guest will be. Well, there'll be a big giant surprise. TBD. Yeah, to be determined. And I just want to say thank you, everyone. Just know that the prices of homes are still going to continue to go up. Interest rates are still questionable. If you're on the fence and you have the ability to purchase a home, now is the best time to buy. That's just my personal opinion. So everybody, I want you to say thank you and goodbye. And Eddie, look, we actually have music now. Eddie's going to do it. You can hear in the background. Hold on. Look at this. I want you, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out here. Eddie wants to say, oh, look, Tanya, who's cooler than the other side of the pillow.
This is true. This is my website for Pittsburgh, all things Pittsburgh real estate.
Was that your song?
I was like leading into Eddie doing a song, so I was like making it sing-songy.
Yeah, Eddie.
Any moment now.
Yeah, you're gonna put the music in. Like, we actually have music now. No lie. Like, if Eddie can can you hear it? Yeah, look. Where is it?
I love how.
Okay.
There we go. There it is.
All right, everybody, we're gonna dance our way out. You guys gonna dance?
I love it, Eddie.
All right,
he's watching Malcolm and seeing
moves. I got you.
All right, Eddie, end it